All right, it is March 5th, 2024, and just hopping on to talk a little bit about the day today. It's at the market close for the day, at least from New York session, trading from the United States here. So, wanted to hop on, talk about what went down today, or at least in my perspective, and just go from there. So, just gonna continue to keep hopping on, seeing what you guys are looking for, seeing more of, whether that's trading, understanding the space, just my commentary. Really, this is like a vlog for myself too, to see how I evolve as a trader, an investor in this space, and just taking whoever wants to join along this journey too. So let's go ahead and dive in today and check things out. All right, let's see what we want to look at. Let's just kind of dive into the heat map of today and look at our crypto bubbles. And you can see right here, it's a really red day in the market. We'll go into the big news about Bitcoin hitting its all time highs again, and kind of how that played out. But long story short, Bitcoin hit its all time highs, and the market had a sell off after that. And uh, relatively expected, but also, unexpected at the same time. You never know if when the market is going to hit all time highs, if the market's going to just blast right through it. A lot of times there is resistance, but how much resistance is the question. So let me just show you the chart so we're all on the same page here. So here is the Bitcoin chart. If you are not familiar, if I just kind of mark some stuff up here. Um, let's just make this 69,000. If you're not familiar, the last all-time high for Bitcoin was 69,000. So you can see right here, this is a weekly candle, but just today, if I go to the daily, it hit that 69,000. So that's huge news. Pretty interesting because, say, you hear all these people talk about crypto going away, Bitcoin going away, and here we are again at the all time highs again. So, for example, say you were that person, and I coach students in trading, and I heard it a lot from a lot of my students. They felt so embarrassed that they bought up here at its all time high back in 2021. Now, clearly it's been a little while. It's 2024 now, but if you could have lasted this dip here, um, you'd be just fine. You probably aren't feeling as ashamed, or hopefully not anymore, that the market's kind of back to where the market was, at least from Bitcoin's side of things. So that's pretty cool and exciting. But the question is, now that Bitcoin has hit its all-time highs, are we going to see the market, completely sell off here? Is it going to be some sort of big retracement downwards, or are we going to see just something small and the market pushing back up? So what we can do is actually look at the market cycles in the past and see kind of what we've seen before. So let me remove this. Let's go to a logarithmic chart because it's going to be a lot easier to see everything from each market cycle. But okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so here you can see all the cycles for Bitcoin at least. It's funny, every time there's a bear market, people say that Bitcoin's going away, then it shoots to all time highs again. Bear market, Bitcoin's going away, then shoots to all time highs again. So, depending on where you've been inside this space, this might be old news to you, or if you're newer to this space, you might be blown away to see that Bitcoin is making all time highs again. So what has happened? Let's just draw some lines at the top. I don't really care anything before 2013. Let's just draw some lines at the top of the last market cycles and see how the market has behaved when it crosses these all-time highs. So let's zoom into this 2013 high here at $1,150 ish. Pretty crazy to think Bitcoin was that low, or even back here, under $100. But what was it like when Bitcoin over here breaks through its all-time highs. So we can see that the price came up, tested this level, not exactly, but almost tested it. Big selling pressure down, broke up just a little bit above, had some sort of, fake out here, chopped the market out, and then recovered once more and then pushed all the way up to its new highs. So a lot of choppiness here in 2017 when the all-time highs were broken from 2013. Okay, so choppy market. Now let's say we go into the top of the 2017 bull market around 19, basically 20K. The market recovers and then barely has any sort of resistance. It kind of chops around a little bit for about a week, stays steady right there, chops another week, and then pushes up. So a little bit of a chop, but way less than last time. And then we can go to where we are currently, the highs here, and we're starting to get a little bit of resistance. So long story short, this is normal that we're seeing this resistance for Bitcoin. The big question is it going to be choppy for a while here? Is it going to blast through really quickly? There's a lot of new things in the mix when it comes to Bitcoin that wasn't there before. Yes, we've had the halvings before, but really it's the ETFs. Now, big money, quote, big money is getting into crypto. There's billions of dollars in volume going through the Bitcoin ETF and a lot of net positive buying. And this could be different. This could be where there is way more institutional demand than before for Bitcoin. And this could be a little bit of maybe a different scenario where maybe less resistance might be in the mix, but you never know. Everybody always asks me, which direction is it going to go? There's no way to really tell. You have to make contingency plans for which way you plan for it to go. And you want to find areas in the market that make sense, probabilistically make sense, and take informed decisions, manage risk from those points. That's how it works. Nobody can predict the market, and if there's anybody, I've said this before, if there's anybody who says that Bitcoin is going to XYZ or it's going to, 10K, they are either generalizing or they have no idea what they're talking about, because the market is just a market. It's just buyers and sellers. Unless they know for sure who and how much people are buying at a certain price, how aggressively they're going to be buying or selling, it's impossible to know where the bottom or the top is or how big of a retracement is going to be. You can have ideas, but you can't be 100% certain. And I think that's where, as a new investor, at least for me, I kept getting confused on that. I was like, oh, well, this guy says really sure Bitcoin's gonna go to 10K. I'm sure you probably have heard that if you've kind of been feeling the market sentiment or been on Twitter this last market cycle. Everybody said 10K, 10K, 10K. Or a lot of people said 10K. All the bears were saying 10K. And it didn't get there. Now, why would they be saying that? So like I said, I think it's a generalization. I think it's you can always have your targets, but you can never be 100% certain in that. So you don't have to hate on anybody that says that kind of stuff. That's their targets, but to say it's a guarantee is just, that's not how the market works. So let's just look at the chart here. So let's go and see that portion in the market that people were saying that 10K price range that Bitcoin was supposed to go to. Let's go down here. There it is, 10K. So Bitcoin didn't even come close. It came down to about 15.5, and that's about 35% off. Now, could Bitcoin get down there again? Who knows? A lot of things can happen. Black swan events can happen. Crazy stuff can happen. And generally, through the history of time, we have been pretty bad at predicting these things. Reason being is because the corrections were so bad. If the market was super good at knowing what was going to happen, I think the market would be a little less crazy, and we would have less market crashes that devastate, our entire economies. So the key thing here is understanding that the market is going to do what the market is going to do. Events are going to happen that the market does not predict. It has happened throughout the history of time that the market has not predicted things, whether it's the COVID crash, whether it's the Great Depression, whether it's the subprime mortgage crash of 2008, whether it was the tech bubble, all the way back to the tulip bubble. We're bad at predicting how these things are going to pan out. Yes, there's going to be some people who are right. There's going to be a lot of people who are wrong, and that's just the name of this game. So overall, the market's going to be the market, and knowing when a bunch of buyers or sellers are going to come in with a 100% certainty is craziness. So just want to get that off my chest there. Okay, let's start moving forward a little bit more to what else I got here. So yes, we're seeing this selling pressure here now that Bitcoin hit its all-time highs. Let's get rid of this log chart. Clean this up a bit. So the question is, how much selling pressure are we going to see? Personally, I was not happy today per se when Bitcoin hit its all-time highs. The reason being is whenever a major asset or a major event happens in any market, that doesn't excite me because I'm a normal weather trader, if you will. I want to trade very normal things in the market. When it's abnormal, like Bitcoin reaching an all-time high, whether it's a major news event or a major regulatory event, these are the things that are harder for me to predict. Like if the market is just generally bullish, it's a lot easier for me to just kind of have an idea of how the market's going to react if it's a normal weather day. You know, I've seen more normal weather days in crypto than abnormal weather days, even, you know, being in crypto which is pretty abnormal. But when it's a super abnormal day, like Bitcoin hitting its all-time highs, that doesn't excite me because we don't know what's going to happen, you know, in these abnormal days. So on the way up to these all-time highs, it felt pretty normal. You know, there's price action I can work off of as a technical trader. You know, this is where the market has been. But anytime we get above the highs or near there, it's now going into no man's land territory. So it's a lot more difficult to know what's going to go on. A lot of people in the market are going to be hesitant. Also, some are going to be aggressive. You know, a lot of people want to get out sometimes to say you don't believe in Bitcoin, or you're ashamed of how much money you've lost, or you want to put some risk off the table. You bought, say, at 69K, you waited these 3 years, and now it's finally at your break-even point. Maybe you're like, oh, good, I can actually pull out some cash without a loss, or take some risk off without a loss. So you'll see a lot of that selling pressure. And for traders that bought low, you know, you really don't know what the price is going to do, but you do generally have an idea that the market's going to get back to its all-time highs. So it's a pretty safe place to take a lot of profit too, if you've bought low on Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is up like 200%, right? 300% since the lows here. You know, that's a pretty solid spot to take profit. Think of being like an institution. You know, if you're an institution and you say have bought Bitcoin down at 15K and you're up 300%, the market comes to its highs. If you're the person that's like, you know what, I'm going to hold, or I'm not going to take any profit, that would be a tough one to explain if the market just sells off again, right? So I think it makes sense that we're seeing some profit taking here. So overall, I'm not that excited because this makes the market a lot more difficult, especially being a long-only trader. You know, I want to wait for this sell pressure to kind of go away. I want to see what Bitcoin's going to do. It might take some time to reclaim this level, so it might be kind of a chilling period. So let's talk about some other things that are interesting in the space right now and kind of going through. So let's go and bring some of this stuff up. So today, there's been some weird tech issues happening here. So this morning we had Meta, a major platform, actually have a what do we have here? What do they call it? We know some people were having trouble accessing our apps earlier. Apology for any inconvenience this may have caused. Thank you for your patience, etc., etc. So they're just saying trouble accessing. So basically, their servers didn't work, or the apps didn't work. When's the last time you've seen Facebook or Instagram not work? So a ton of apps weren't working today, and I think the market got spooked because of that. It could be just an overload of new users, or is this going to be that conspiracy kind of stuff happening of the whole cyber attacks going down? So don't want to don't want to be the tinfoil guy, but I think the market is starting to sniff some of this stuff. If you've been using, say, Coinbase, this has been a nightmare the past few days. Coinbase is repeatedly going down, apparently because they haven't actually built up their infrastructure large enough to take on all of the new users, because they're seeing all the bullishness in crypto right now, that the app keeps crashing. And yeah, that sounds, whatever, the app's just crashing. But when you're a trader and you need to get out of trades, and when a lot of traders panic when this app crashes, you see this crazy volatility. How many days this happened, and it's a pain in the butt. So let's see here. So just 4 hours ago, we have customer transactions have fully recovered. So it's having a status update. We're seeing recovery. So that's just a more status update. Let's see what else. So here we go. We are aware that some users may be experiencing some errors. That was 6 hours ago. On March 4th, so yesterday, we have issued a fix, which remediated the display issue impacting customers' account balances, where our balances were literally showing 0. That's stressful stuff. And then let's go back to March 1st. All customers' sends, withdraw, deposits have been restored. So even on the 1st, there was a problem. Where there were issues. You saw balances at 0 again. So really difficult stuff. The market's been really volatile when this has been happening. If you've been on Coinbase, you probably saw your balance at 0. I had many instances where I couldn't get out of trades. I'm dealing with customer support. Really a tough thing right now, at least for Coinbase users. And I know this has happened on other exchanges as well. Never a fun time. The best thing you can do is just try to make sure your positions have stop losses on them. You're managing your risk really tightly. You don't have too much capital on the table or at risk, but not easy stuff, especially for the most trusted app. You'd hope they would solve this stuff, because if Coinbase goes down, I really believe crypto is going to have an issue, because Binance is struggling. Just had a huge issue in the United States. They're having an issue in Nigeria. It's not good if there's nowhere to run in crypto. And that's on the centralized side. You might say, oh, we'll just go decentralized. Well, decentralized has its issues too. Is decentralized, you see these decentralized platforms get hacked all the time. So there's kind of no safe place to run that much in crypto, it feels like sometimes. But also, that's just the nature of being new as well. Anything new is going to have its bugs, it's going to have its hiccups, but that's where the opportunity is. And that's what I like to tell people is like, oh yeah, there's risks, there's new stuff, there's bugs, there's hacks. Well, when all those things are fixed, and when those things have been fixed for any other technology or developments in the world, the opportunities are greatly reduced. It's when things are new, it's when things aren't perfect, is when there are crazy opportunities. Of course, crazy risks as well. It's kind of that equal balance, risk to reward. Usually, reward is very much in the same degree as the risk that it has. So if crypto is super risky, it's the number one performing asset class too. So risk to reward. The key is just trying to manage that risk the best you can. It's not been an easy one. If you've been in this space for this last year, there's been exchanges going down, hacks, etc. But if you play it smart, and if you've played it smart, there is a ton of opportunities too. Okay, what else? Another one that I'm starting to see across X is this 2010 whale that is dumping 1,000 Bitcoin or 68 million in an hour. So here are the transactions from it. It's from this certain block. He's selling 50 Bitcoin chunks. So people are trying to find the reason for this sell off. Some people have been really waiting. Some whales probably have been really waiting, saying, hey, next high, I'm going to cash out a lot of my chips. And that's very normal to see. So yeah, I think that's the main thing that I want to talk about today in the market. We'll see how Bitcoin recovers here today. If we just kind of go into the chart, start to look, here's that big negative day today. Let's see if we can put some moving averages. So on the daily chart, this blue line is the 9-period moving average. So that's been being respected relatively in this uptrend. I'm not sure if the market's going to break down. Maybe it'll touch this 20-period moving average that I have down here. You see the market test that. But then we have the 50-period moving average in the green. That's one of my kind of lines in the sand where things are probably looking worse than better, is when that thing starts to get hit. So far, strength is being maintained, but I do not like how aggressive this sell-off was. If we just kind of look at it, so we go down to a 4-hour chart, you have this probe upwards and a huge sell down to the 50-period moving average. On the 4-hour chart, it's just a really aggressive move down. And just through experience, when I see these huge, crazy aggressive moves, and especially if it's not recovering immediately, you can see it started to recover, pushed up to the 20 period, and is maybe still pushing down off of that. I'm not quite convinced that we're out of the woods. Looking at altcoins too, just trying to see if anything is really starting to push up here. Seeing a decent amount of red in this space, not a lot of crazy green. So I'll be evaluating altcoins as well. But there could be a recovery. The market has been very bullish. Say we look at our meme coins. The meme coins were pumping. You got Sheeb here pushing up 154%, at least from where I entered, and holding relatively strong. So the market is overall bullish. Just the question is are we going to have, a sustained pullback? Is it going to be something catastrophic? I don't think it's going to be catastrophic unless there's actually a macro event like a COVID or, a real deal cyber attack, war, banking system failure. I think those could definitely warrant a much larger sell-off, but I don't necessarily believe that this sell-off should be too sustained. But as we saw at the beginning of this call, it's normal for the market to kind of hesitate a little at these highs. Now, one thing also I'm kind of looking at is if Bitcoin hesitates, sometimes you'll see altcoins still continue to move up. That means, a lot of profit taken from Bitcoin might shuffle into altcoins. So that could happen too, but we'll have to wait and see. So overall, that's really what I'm looking at today. The exciting part is that Bitcoin hit its all-time highs. The non-exciting part is now what, right? Are we going to see Bitcoin just blast through this? Are we going to see, we are seeing selling. Are we going to see major selling? Is this going to be a turn in the market? Is this just going to be some sort of little pullback and the market's going to continue on to new high land? So for me, it's a lot of just kind of waiting a little bit right now, whether it's just a few hours, whether it's a few days. I'm going to feel out the market. And if kind of the dominoes start stacking up more and more, that the market's going to turn around, everything's looking great, maybe it's game on. Maybe all the selling pressure is over and we can just continue. But if we still see a really choppy market, we still see blocks of heavy selling, I'm going to still be patient. So exciting news, but this is a time where I'm going to be a little bit patient in the market, and I'll connect with you guys soon. Let me know what you thought of this episode, if you'd like to see more of anything as well, and I'll keep posting these. So appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.